Fugitive pastor Prophet Shepherd Bushiri has made several demands to the South African authorities as conditions for his return to face the racketeering and money laundering case. To discuss his prospects for success, we're joined by legal expert advocate Smanga Sethene. Advocate Sethene, thank you so much for your time tonight. And certainly, I'd like us to begin here. It was always going to be a dicey decision to grant them bail, particularly, given what we heard in court from the NPA.
Indeed, it was always been going to be a problem because the Mr. Bushiri was rumored to be having a number of passports. Although the state couldn't prove that, but that suspicion by the state, it has now proven to be correct that indeed he possibly had a number of passports bearing his name, bearing a fictitious name.
And what now? Because he has, decided to take his family, go to Malawi and cite security and safety concerns. What now? Because this is a violation, a clear violation of his bail conditions.
Apart from it being a violation of his bail conditions, South Africa has got an extradition and mutual legal assistance in criminal matters with Malawi. So it is going to be on the South African authorities, particularly the NPA, to make an application in the Malawian court for his extradition, a process that is going to be easy because even a South African practicing lawyer, if he or she is granted a right of audience in a Malawian court, he would appear there and make an application for extradition of Mr. Bushiri and his wife. So what is going to happen? The NPA would have to make an application in a Malawian court to have both Mr. and Mrs. Bushiri to be extradited back to South Africa to face their criminal charges here.
And should police have not sounded the alarm a lot more sooner? Because, according to their statement, they did not, show up at the police station yesterday for them to report to the police station as part of their bail conditions.
Well, this is a serious indictment on the SAPS, because in terms of the court order, they are obliged to report between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Monday and Friday. Yesterday at 6 p.m., when they failed to report, certainly the SAPS ought to have contacted a number of ports of entry in South Africa to find out if at all they have escaped via road, or they have escaped via OR Tambo or any other airport. So it is a serious indictment, and it even makes, it is also an insult on our criminal justice system, because tomorrow another foreign national is going to be granted a bail and do what Bushiri and his wife have done. And I think we've observed this week that Judge Zilwa in sitting in Port Elizabeth denied Pastor Omotosho bail, saying he's a candidate to escape the country. And now we've seen another foreign national by the name of Mr. Bushiri and his wife. They've now escaped the country and they are back in Malawi.
And in that very, detailed statement that was released on Facebook, on his Facebook page, he's citing safety concerns. And he says that these have been ongoing for quite some time, even goes as far as accusing the officers of trying to extort money from him, even saying that he doesn't believe that he will be prosecuted but persecuted. Now, when you look at all of these concerns that he is raising, what routes should he have followed to try and ensure that his safety is protected, instead of then deciding to leave the country and then hit the country with a list of demands?
Well, remember, Mr. Bushiri and his wife, if they had safety concerns, the first point of call should have been the investigation officer. They ought to have told the investigation officer all their safety concerns for the investigation officer to do what he or she has to do. But they failed to do that. But remember, even in that statement, Mr. Bushiri is not mentioning the names of these police officers that he alleges have attempted to extort money from him. And now again, he is making a demand that should he return to the country, his bail conditions should not be revoked. Certainly, South Africa has got laws. And if you breach your bail conditions, it is incumbent upon the law enforcement agencies to admit you back to the police cells, and you will be kept there pending the finalization of your criminal trial.
And when you look at some of the sanctions that they could face for the violations of their bail conditions, what could these be?
Look, the courts are not going to look at them the way they will look at a person who was willing to not to evade his or her trial. Their live in South Africa has now proven that they had an intention to evade their trial, and it's going to be a factor that the courts are going to look into when they deal with their matter, particularly at the sentencing stage.
And do you think that, the Magistrate Teledi here, do you think she may have erred in her judgment?
Magistrate Teledi, in my view, did not err in her judgment. Remember, she used all the safeguards to ensure that they do not evade their trial. One of the orders that Magistrate Teledi made was that the title deed.
All right, it does appear we have a challenge with that line to Advocate Smanga Sethene. We are going to try and re-establish our connection with him, and certainly as he's describing this latest move here as an insult really to the criminal justice system. Advocate Sethene, I do believe that I do have you back on the line. You were still talking about the magistrate's decision to grant them bail and the fact that you say she didn't err in her judgment.
Certainly she didn't err. She ordered that the title deed of their house in Pretoria should be surrendered to the state, of which that was done on the 5th of November. She also ordered that their movement is restricted to 2 provinces, being Gauteng and Northwest. And the bail was set to, I think it was 200,000, if my mind served me well. So Magistrate Teledi looked at all conditions, and she was satisfied that they were candidates to be admitted into bail. But little did we know that today, via Facebook, Mr. Bushiri and Ms. Bushiri will say they are back in Malawi and making demands that they are making.
And they're talking in their statement about a tactical withdrawal from the Republic of South Africa, solely meant to preserve their lives. What could a tactical withdrawal be?
Remember, there's nothing like a tactical withdrawal. We are not in a battlefield. They are in a criminal
All right, that line does appear to be going up and down there with Advocate Smanga Sethene. Let's just give it a few moments just to see if we are able to re-establish a better connection. I see that he's back. Advocate Sethene, you can continue with your response to the tactical withdrawal.
Yes, I'm saying there's nothing tactical about them having gone to Malawi. They ought to be here to face the music, and by them going to Malawi, essentially they've committed another crime in terms of the immigration laws of the country. So they are going to have that added into as one of their charges when they come back.
And they talk about these conditions that they would like, for them to be met by the Republic of South African authorities to ensure our, and I quote, our fair, impartial and just trial. First, I want the South African government to assure us of our safety and security whilst we're in South Africa. Secondly, they also want government to assure them that their bail will not be revoked. And thirdly, they want officers involved in investigating, arresting and prosecuting them to recuse themselves. Then they want the state to see it to that all issues he lodged and opened against these officers must be pursued. And then he also says that he wants the South African state to appoint independent and professional investigators as well as prosecutors who should make independent decisions. Certainly when you look at these conditions, it doesn't look like this is someone that wants to come back into the country.
Well, it will be remiss of the law enforcement agencies to accede to their demands. Their demands have got no basis in law. They are now fugitives from justice. Through Interpol and through the extradition procedures, they are going to have to come back here. And I can assure you that the NPA is going to make that application in the Malawian court, and that stands to succeed because there's not much difference between Malawian law and South African law.
And some have, Advocate Sethene suggested that this is very ironic, that it happens just the day after President Chakwera meets with President Ramaphosa, and some have been suggesting that there may have been something at play here. Are these concerns unfounded?
Well, I think those concerns are unfounded. Remember, Malawi has just had elections, and that elections was disputed.
All right, it does look like that line is giving up once again with the Advocate Sethene. He's back again. Advocate Sethene, let's try it one more time.
Yes.
You can continue talking to us about, the concerns, because some are saying that this is, quite ironic that it happens a day after President Chakwera and President Cyril Ramaphosa meet.
Those concerns are unfounded.
All right. Thank you so much, Advocate Sethene, for your time tonight. Certainly, we do appreciate your insights and looking into this matter of fugitive pastor Prophet Shepherd Bushiri and his wife Mary, who have made several demands to the South African authorities. I mean, they're even calling for some of those officers that are investigating this particular matter to recuse themselves. And they even want, certainty that their bail conditions, in fact, their bail is not going to be revoked. And certainly, this will be interesting to watch, especially because if they're violating bail conditions, you are expecting that your bail will be revoked. But he is citing the fact that he doesn't feel safe in South Africa and says that, things have gotten worse since they got out on bail, even saying that there's been a clear and evident attempts to have himself, his wife and family killed. And despite several attempts to report to authorities, there has never been state protection. And certainly it does look like they were looking for some kind of state protection here, and even saying that coming to Malawi is a tactical withdrawal from the Republic of South Africa, and this is a move that is meant to preserve their lives. But certainly, Advocate Sethene, they are saying that a tactical withdrawal only happens when people are in battle, and in this particular instance, things could have been dealt with in a different level. But